Hello and welcome to the Evening News for today, Monday, November 3, 2014. I'm Avinash Ramzan. Thanks for joining us. In the headlines, release the recordings, Rohi dares Glenn Lal. Government blasts unethical Glenn Lal and Kaichor News. Thousands bid farewell to Navin Chandrapal. Felix criticizes government for present crime situation. All Boys Town man gunned down. And PPPC challenges GCOM to release official list of electors. Now for the news in detail. Home Affairs Minister Clement Rohi today urged that the publisher of the Kaichor News, Glenn Lal, release all of the recordings he has of public officials. Let's find out more in this report.
That they said that there are more revelations to be made in respect to recordings of political personalities. And our position on that is, if there are more recordings, well, let the recording be released.
That was Home Affairs Minister Clement Rohi as he called for a full disclosure from the publisher of Kaichor News, Glenn Lal, with respect to audio recordings. It is understood that Lal may have hundreds of illegal phone recordings in his possession, which he often uses as weapons of blackmail whenever he needs to manipulate a situation to his advantage. Lal had illegally taped a private conversation between Kaichor News senior reporter Leonard Gildari and Attorney General Anil Nandlal. He subsequently made that recording public by distributing it to several media outlets. He also filed a complaint with the Guyana Police Force, claiming that the Attorney General threatened him and his staff. Since then, Rohi said some sections of the media have set out to lynch the Attorney General.
All that has been said so far is biased and negative and aimed at lynching Mr. Nandlal. The only I would say balanced statement that I've seen so far is the one that was issued by the government as soon as this thing broke.
Meanwhile, government on Sunday said Kaichor News has been engaged in an unwavering and institutionalized policy of unprofessional journalism, which has deteriorated to such levels that a newspaper is now making up stories. More in this report.
The government statement comes in wake of statements by the International Press Institute and several other organizations that have criticized comments allegedly made by Attorney General Anil Nandlal in a recorded conversation between him and a reporter of the Kaichor News recently. Noting that the newspaper lacks professionalism and ethical tenets, government said the media house is steeped in fabrications, distortions, character assassination, and homophobia. It said its prime targets have been the government ministers, senior functionaries of the state, sections of the business community, religious organizations, sections of the labor movement, and sections of the civil society that is supportive of the government. According to the government, headlines are frequently enlarged and inaccurately sensationalized to scandalize issues and persons, and are oftentimes not born out of the stories to which they relate, even as distorted and inaccurate as those stories themselves are. In addition, the release stated that over the years, the Kaichor News has targeted the government ministers, senior functionaries of the state, sections of the business community, religious organizations, sections of the labor movement, and sections of the civil society that is supportive of the government, and indeed anyone with whom the newspaper publisher has a personal grievance. A column within the newspaper, which is supposedly satirical, bearing the colloquial caption "Dem Boy Say," has been used as an instrument to publish the vilest, most libelous, and homophobic sentiments of the concerning hapless citizens. Attempts by those aggrieved to these offensive publications to solicit apologies, retractions, or clarifications are met with further abuse and sometimes with greater intensity in subsequent publications. In those circumstances, aggrieved persons are forced to approach the court for protection. Even in those instances, injunctions issued by the judiciary restraining offensive and libelous publications are ignored with impunity, causing another proliferation of legal proceedings for contempt of court. To date, not once has the government attempted to muzzle or interfere with the way the media house works. Royden James, reporting for the Evening News.
Thousands of Guyanese and top government officials paid their final respects to former presidential advisor and People's Progressive Party civic stalwart Navin Chandrapal at the Guyana International Conference Center on Sunday. He was later cremated at the Good Hope Crematorium. The details from Royden James.
Oh, what peace we often forfeit. Oh, what needless pain we bear.
Top government officials, friends and relatives paid tribute to late presidential advisor on science and technology and stalwart of the ruling People's Progressive Party Civic Navin Chanderpaul at a moving funeral service held at the Guyana International Conference Center, Liliendal, on Sunday. Hailed not only as a political scientist and physicist, but also as a grassroots individual who championed the cause of the working class. Chanderpaul died last week after losing the battle to stomach cancer. Just before the funeral service commenced, his casket, draped with a PPPC flag, was in full view in front of Freedom House, Red House and the GAU headquarters. Before hundreds of mourners, President Donald Ramotar reflected on the life of Chanderpaul. He explained that Chanderpaul was born at a time when Guyana was experiencing significant changes with the emergence of the PPPC.
Navin, as I said, in participating in all these things, we had organized big cycle rides for democracy all over our country, and he was there always in the leadership in those struggles. The party had identified him quite early from his university days of his activities, saw the potential that he had, and allowed him and sent him abroad in Moscow to study, to improve his skills. And of course, he was indeed a very brilliant student, having a strong science background and also a strong inclination towards politics that helped him very, very much to understand the intricacies of the day.
Describing him as a scientist, mathematician and physicist, PPPC General Secretary Clement Rohi said Chanderpaul never allowed himself to fall victim of pessimistic nor fatalistic thinking.
Men make their own history. They do not make it just as they please. They do not make it under circumstances chosen by themselves, but under circumstances directly encountered, given and transmitted from the past. Because Navin was a political scientist, mathematician and physicist, he would have understood and grasped the essence of this sentence and recognized the historical context in which he functioned. In other words, he adhered steadfastly to the rigors of science. He never allowed himself to fall victim to pessimistic nor fatalistic thinking.
Also paying tribute was GAU's President Kamal Chand, who reiterated that the workers have lost a friend and a champion.
After the elections of '92, Kamal Navin was called to serve in several areas of our country's life. As a minister of government, as an advisor to the president, and in various boards and committees, his preference, it would appear, was his work and interest in environment and sustainable development, fields of which I'm sure he had much more contributions to make. Today, as we pay our respect to an outstanding colleague and comrade, to a friend of the working people, Kamal Navin, one can say without contradiction, has discharged his responsibility to the country and to his party admirably and with commitment.
During the period 2001 to 2003, Chanderpaul served as Agriculture Minister and a Member of Parliament. Over the last 10 years, he resumed the role of advisor to the President on sustainable development, science and technology. Royden James, reporting for the Evening News.
In this Vanu Manikchand report, we'll hear that a Partnership for National Unity APNU Member of Parliament Winston Felix has flagged the government for the present crime situation.
APNU Executive Member Winston Felix blasts government for its continuous failure to curb increasing crime in Guyana. At a press briefing on Monday, Felix referred to the incident on Sunday when the congregation of the St. Philip's Anglican Church was robbed by 3 armed young men. The former police commissioner said the crime situation is as a result of the police force lacking capacity as well as resources to effectively carry out their duties.
You need a policeman who has been so well prepared at school that he can absorb the training program That is what you need. No, you just don't want to recruit men today and they go tomorrow. You want to recruit men today, train them, ensure that they absorb the training so that when they get out there, they can effectively do the job. I'm not saying that this is not present, but it needs to be institutionalized. So you want more manpower, you want to retain the manpower, therefore you must pay them properly.
The APNU member added that the pleadings of the coalition to address the situation seemed to fall on deaf ears. He noted that the current Home Affairs Minister is focused on other matters rather than improving the state of the country. Felix outlined some of the initiatives that the APNU would undertake to reverse the crime situation in the country. The former police commissioner underscored the need for increased police patrols in the streets, which will deter criminals from committing heinous crimes such as the one carried out on Sunday.
If patrols are wrong, these men at first would think twice because they don't know when they're escaping if they would be intercepted by a police patrol. Talk about opportunity. If you can ride to a scene and ride away from the scene without being intercepted anywhere by the police.
He noted that recruitment and training are also vital aspects in bringing the Guyana police force up to par to tackle the level of crime Guyana experiences. Reporting for the Evening News, Vanu Manekshan.
A father of two was on Saturday evening gunned down in a drive-by shooting at Cooper Street, Alboystown in Georgetown. Two men are in custody assisting with investigations, as we hear from Bisham Mohammed.
27-year-old Lloyd Bourne of Lot 57 Bar and James Street, Alboystown, Georgetown, was shot twice to his chest by an occupant of a car as it drove through Cooper Street, Alboystown on Saturday evening. From all indications, Bourne was the target since he was among a group of men when the shooting occurred, but no one else was injured and the gathering scampered to safety. The police believe that the stallholder and the person who rushed Bourne to the Dr. Balwant Singh Hospital are withholding information about the drive-by shooting which occurred at about 20 hours 30, some 15 feet from where the sweetie vendor operated his small stand. They were taken into police custody but were subsequently released. At the home of the dead man, his mother-in-law, Marcia, explained when she got the news of the fatal shooting.
I was coming home last night, right through Bar Street there, and my niece come right up to me and tell me, you always going to some funeral if you went home. You will there, you will hear your son-in-law die. And then she stopped and tell me just here, like, they get shoot, and the Balwant Singh Hospital. By the time I think and I come upstairs now, and I left and I go down the road with my other friend to get a car, my niece and my other niece and my daughter came in a car, said we go to the hospital to carry over to public. So my niece was telling me that when she go to Balwant Singh, and she asked the security, tell the security she come concerned the boy with a bullet won't come here. The security said, he gone over to public, and a man turned and said, the boy done dead already.
The woman further stated that they are still looking for answers with respect to the shooting, claiming that the people at Cooper Street are tight-lipped about the entire incident.
We know nothing. There's all we hear that somewhere in Cooper Street, he was drinking, and still we ain't getting, cause even to friend them finding out, but nobody talking nothing through Cooper Street. Somewhere through Cooper Street. All they know to go, the whole boy will take him to the hospital, carry down the boy from the hospital last night. So when we left from public hospital, we go to Rheinfeld. I had another Indian boy that said, was selling, got a shop through Cooper Street. That had the whole car that said, you got to know something, you got to see something, but after the minute back, nobody else come to me.
At the scene on Sunday, a young man related that it was not customary for Bourne to lime in that street. Hence, the shooting leaves a lot of questions unanswered. The police have retrieved 2 spent shells at the scene as they continue their investigations. The man leaves to mourn his mother, 2 children, 3 siblings, and other relatives. Bisham Mohammed, Evening News.
More news ahead. Stay tuned. This is the Evening News. Welcome back. This is the evening news on TVG. Yet again, the People's Progressive Party Civic has raised concerns about the Ghana Elections Commission. This time, those concerns were about the issuance of the official list of electors. More in this report.
General Secretary of the People's Progressive Party Civic Clement Rohi today said that some clarification is still needed from GCOM with respect to which elections the entity is training persons for.
One is left to wonder what training was conducted with these persons, taking into consideration the dilemma the country is placed in by the combined opposition. Surprisingly, the opposition seems to be in a state of hibernation when it comes to GCOM affairs. Yet the AFC is crying to reconvene Parliament, to table a no-confidence motion, and APNU's obsession for local government elections grows deeper with every passing day. Considering this, and that there has not been a single statement on GCOM's preparations for elections from the opposition, is it that they are privileged, that they are privy to privileged information and that is restricted from the PVP, or are they huffing and puffing without oxygen?
Rohi also called on GCOM to issue the official list of electors as it is mandated to do. GCOM had disclosed that the official list of electors was scheduled to be released on October 31. That date has since come and gone with no words from the Commission.
It was expected that the OLE would have been made available by October 30th, 2014. However, to date, the PVP is still awaiting their copies or a definitive word from GCOM on the position as it relates to the official list of electors. One would have thought that with the controversial appointment of a new public relations officer, the nation would have been updated on these matters, yet we remain in the same blinded position.
Over the past few weeks, the PPP has raised several concerns with respect to the election body and its preparations for national elections. Among those was the appointment of the new public relations officer, Richard Francois. Rohi reaffirmed that the party still wants to see Francois fired because of his political inclinations.
We have received a response from Mr. Surbali indicating to us how they went about selecting Mr. Francois. And in the letter, at the terminal part of the letter, he gave a kind of a, I would say, measured assurance that Mr. Francois' performance will be evaluated as time goes by. I think that's another tune. That's a favorite of mine.
And did that rest well with PPP? Are you okay with that?
Oh no, not at all. Not at all. We're not prepared to compromise on our position with respect to Mr. Francois' employment.
There are growing concerns about whether the 1,600 persons being trained to combat the Ebola virus would be given compensation packages. Vanu Manikchand reports.
While some insurance providers are writing Ebola deaths into their exclusivities, concerns are growing rapidly over medical personnel being infected with the virus. Some of the key players here have hinted at a possible compensation scheme for the 1,600 Ebola care workers being trained by the government. A Partnership for National Unity parliamentarian, Dr. Karen Cummins, on Friday admitted that no real thought has been given to the subject. She, however, contended that since it is now raised, it will be up for discussion with her colleagues. On the flip side, Health Minister Dr. Barry Ramsaran also admitted that the prospect is yet to see any real deliberations.
So we have not contemplated, although it's not excluded, that there will be some compensation, but we have not had any resonating call or demand. People are coming forward and volunteering. We need to have them not get contaminated. We need to train them well, provide them with a special kit, the so-called personal protection equipment. Guyana has in stock some 800 to 900 such units, and at the same time we have ordered more. Okay, so we're learning from the mistakes that others made.
He, however, pointed out that the calls for a compensation scheme are coming mainly from outside of the medical sphere.
What I want to point out that so far, all of the workers who have come forward for training have done so in the spirit of humanity and compassion. There's been no demands up to now for compensation, and all demands seem to be coming from the non-medical circles. We have had so far 316 workers trained, doctors, nurses, drivers, other attendants, laboratory practitioners, and so on and so forth, to create the team. And we are in an advanced process of creating 3 teams. As a matter of fact, 3 teams have been created, but we're tweaking them so that they will be able to work together as squaddies. And only yesterday we engaged the military, and we're hoping to get them on board. They might be able to provide further support, for example, drivers who we can train and so on.
The minister also explained that thus far, some 316 plus persons have been trained to treat Ebola.
National Road Safety Month was officially launched today at a simple ceremony opposite Parliament buildings under the theme, "The time is now, don't drink and drive, stay attentive, drive defensive." More from Bisham Mohammed.
This backdrop, officials at the launch of the National Road Safety Month call on drivers, passengers and pedestrians to be vigilant road users.
I want to join with my colleagues and with the VC and with all of us who ought to be good Guyanese in calling for a change in attitude and culture which would see a lowering of our accident rates.
So far for the year, there have been 102 road accidents, of which 110 persons died, a drastic increase from last year's 79 accidents with 85 deaths. While Traffic Chief Uden Hart expects no more fatal accidents for the year, Public Works Minister Robeson-Ben said a collected effort is needed for this to be achieved.
I can't rely on divine interventions, I'm sorry. I am a trained scientist and I have to rely on human action. The individual matters. Human action. Irrespective of all those other things, the individual matters, and individual action and responsibility matters. So, if I take a basic look at the grim statistics, it suggests to me that we will have at least 22 persons more dying to the end of December for this year. That is what it says. That is what it says. If I factor into that calculus, the fact that we are going into the holiday season, which is the drinking season, and the being erratic and irresponsible season, then it will probably be more. So, at the end of all of this, we may be touching up 138, 140 if we continue in this vein.
Prime Minister Samuel Hines, a strong road safety advocate, called for a change in attitude and culture of road users. He also called on the media to assist in raising awareness on this national concern.
Our newspapers and our media have much time to do things, to represent things that one may question the helpfulness to us. I would ask them all to dedicate some space to report regularly on our accident rates to see how we are doing.
Meanwhile, Home Affairs Minister Clement Rohi disclosed that the roads have become intolerable, and as such, extensive education and strong enforcement should be implemented.
Notwithstanding all the efforts the Guyana National Road Safety is making, you still have a significant percentage of people who use these roads in a reckless, careless, and lawless manner. And we have to deal with them. We cannot allow them to encroach on the rights of others who do so in a disciplined way.
Bisham Mohammed, Evening News.
Chief Executive Officer of the Guyana National Industrial Corporation, Clinton Williams, on Saturday hosted a farewell dinner for a group of missionary doctors. The details from Carl Croker.
Over the weekend, a group of doctors from the diaspora were treated to a dinner organized by Chief Executive Officer of the Guyana National Industrial Corporation, Clinton Williams. The doctors were part of a missionary team that had just concluded a tour of the ancient county, Berbice. Health Minister Dr. Berry Ramsaran said the team had conducted a remarkable amount of work while in Guyana. He pointed out that most of the team members are specialists and were able to conduct close to 50 complicated surgeries in Berbice.
Over the past few days, this mission, the medical mission, the Guyana Medical Mission, has been working in Berbice at the New Amsterdam Hospital doing surgeries. Some 42 fairly complicated surgeries were done. And of course, they brought along with them the competencies that are necessary.
Some of the doctors in brief interviews with the Evening News recounted their experience here.
I came in for one reason, to help those who had GI, gastrointestinal problems, including liver disease. We were able to see a lot of patients at the clinic. We were able to schedule procedures. Some had what we call dyspepsia, nausea, vomiting, epigastric pain. Some had rectal lesions that I went and investigate. We couldn't do biopsy because this machine was down. We did a lot of diagnostic procedure, but there were no biopsies.
The nurses are very good. They're very enthusiastic. The training that they had here, they took very well to it. The nurses at Sloan Kettering were excellent. And I think that the group is growing much bigger. And I believe that it's going to be good. I think that the care of the cancer patients here, especially the indigent patients, are going to be extremely good. I think we will try to ensure that the poor and the underprivileged get the same care that the ones that could, afford it gets.
This past venture, we did a total of, 42 major operations. I think over just a few days, there were significant improvement in, their technical skills. And the most important thing that needs to be capitalized on is their initiative to learn, their fund of knowledge. And for me, that's the first step in building a sustainable educational infrastructure that will support the medical system in Guyana.
For the Evening News, Carl Croker.
2 men were shot by a businessman who accused them of attempting to rob his business place at Sierra Johanna on the east bank of Demerara in the wee hours of Monday morning. The 2 men were identified as 50-year-old Wilton Edwards, also called Lasso, of Land of Canaan, and 40-year-old Sherwin Hamilton, popularly known as Nasty Man, also of Land of Canaan. The businessman Derek was subsequently detained by police at Timeri, and his licensed firearm was seized. According to information received, the 2 men were drinking at Derek's food court in Bear Garden, during which they attempted to gain entry to the shop via a window. The businessman, who was inside, said he heard a sound, and upon checking, he saw the 2 men. He ran for his firearm and subsequently discharged several rounds. As a result, Edwards was shot in his abdomen and back, while Hamilton was shot in the abdomen and foot. They were both admitted to the Georgetown Public Hospital. The Evening News understands that the 2 men had allegedly stripped the businessman's truck of its battery a few days ago. The police are continuing their investigations. Stay tuned. This is the Evening News. Welcome back. A group of experts from the George Washington State University this morning commenced work at the Georgetown Public Hospital and the West Demerara Regional Hospital, where they will be based over the next few weeks. The details from Carl Croker.
A group of expert surgeons and other medical personnel from the George Washington State University are currently in Guyana, where they will be conducting several surgeries at 2 of Guyana's primary health care facilities. They will be focused primarily on gynecology and its related fields, including urology. The lead doctor, Compton Benjamin, explained more about the medical intervention.
It's a great opportunity for me, being that I was born here, to be able to come back and to help. I was here last year, and it was a life-changing experience. I hope to be able to do this every year, to come back and give some to the community here.
So how many cases did you guys attend to while here?
We have about 20 surgeries that we're going to do. A big mix of big surgeries, major surgeries, which patients are going to be in the hospital.
It was also noted that the group plans to perform several complicated surgeries during their stay in Guyana.
My hope is to perform as many of these procedures as possible to relieve some of these women that are afflicted with very large uteri that cause these problems. And so those are the most common procedures that will be done. There are also several other cases that we're seeing so far. They're related to ovarian masses, so growths also on the ovaries, Potentially, if we encounter other common problems related to either cyst formations in other parts of the gynecologic tract, hopefully we're taking care of those as well.
How many cases do you have so far?
So far, we've scheduled 6 cases.
Health Minister Dr. Berry Ramsar and praised the group for yet another trip.
This team, the present team from George Washington University Hospital, which is now visiting, will attempt to continue that training session. So we hope to be getting more and more skills, which will not only add to the repertoire of skills and competencies and knowledge of our doctors, but at the same time make surgery safer and easier for our patients, and at the same time more economic. Because you'll realize if a patient can be up and moving a few hours after surgery, it's different than if that patient has to be in bed and helped by a nurse for several days because of the severity of the anesthesia. So we are getting places.
This is the 3rd visit by the team of experts to Guyana. For the evening news, Carl Crooker.
A motorcyclist is now dead after he was involved in a collision in the wee hours of Monday at Monrepo on the east coast of Demerara. 54-year-old Bennett Bevaney, a welder of Lot 37 Plantain Walk Triumph on the east coast of Demerara, was killed while pillion rider Elisa Pinero was injured in the accident. According to the police, Bevaney and Pinero were traveling along the railway embankment when a motor lorry proceeding in the opposite direction swerved into their path, causing a collision. The 2 injured persons were taken to the Georgetown Public Hospital, where Bevaney was pronounced dead on arrival, and the pillion rider was admitted to seek medical attention. However, contrary to reports revealed by the police, the man's son told his newscast that he was not aware of another vehicle being involved in the accident. He said that from reports they received, the man had crashed into a culvert after he lost control of the motorcycle. Bevaney leaves to mourn his 4 children, his reputed wife, siblings, and other relatives. The driver of the lorry is in police custody assisting with investigations. The Guyana Telephone and Telegraph Company, GT&T, today officially handed over its 2014 directory to President Donald Ramotar at the Office of the President. More on this report.
The Guyana Telephone and Telegraph Company has printed its 2014-2016 phone directory, where customers will be able to access addresses and telephone numbers of persons registered for the service. Chief Executive Officer R.K. Sharma delivered the first copy of the directory to His Excellency President Donald Ramotar, while indicating that the directory will be available to the general public shortly. The CEO said the company made 2 directories for the 2014-2016 period to target the business community in Guyana and private residences.
The difference here is that we're going to have 2 directories. We have the full white page, the full complete one with the white and yellow pages, and we also have a smaller version for the business houses that will carry all the yellow pages. But more than that, this year, within a week, we'll be putting the directory online. So you'll be able, and the online version is going to be twofold. In the first instance, it will be as you have it, and there will also be a module that will have a search engine. So you'll be able to search for numbers by giving names, either first name or last name. So we're doing all of this so that our subscribers could have a very friendly, good experience in accessing the directory information, whether it's hard copy or soft copy. Next.
These developments are to attract subscribers to the user-friendly approach and also accessibility of the phone directory.
The Lions Club of Georgetown, in collaboration with Guyana Shines and St. Rose's High School, today repainted the walls of the school in an effort to highlight the positives which exist within the institution. Royden James was there and filed this report.
The Lions Club of Georgetown, Stabrook, in collaboration with the Guyana Shines and St. Rose's High School, today repainted the walls of the school in an effort to spread positivity and more so beautifying the school's surroundings. Speaking to this newscast was a sixth form student of the school who said that they are very thankful for this venture undertaken by the non-governmental organizations.
Before this whole project of beautifying the wall of St. Rose's High School, it was very dirty and filled with nasty slogans painted with graffiti. So we are very thankful for Guyana Shines partnering with the Lions Club to help us increase the aesthetic value of our school.
Speaking too was a member of the Guyana Shines, Tristana Dicuna, who said that the idea behind the project was to bring out a positive view of the school.
It's a Guyana Shines project. We collaborate with the Stabrook Lions Club and the school to help beautify the wall. Before, you know that the wall had a lot of, it was very dirty, not pleasant to look at. So our idea was just to make the wall look a bit brighter and to bring out a positive view of the school.
Meanwhile, President of the Georgetown Stabroek Lions Club, Odessa DeBarras, said that she is grateful for coming on board once again to lend her support.
Okay, well, the Georgetown Stabroek Lions Club a letter was sent to us to ask us to be a part of it. It's for our environmental project. And we were grateful that Youth Shine asked us to be a part of it, basically, to partner with them along with St. Rose High School. As you know, St. Rose High School fence never looked like this before, and due to Guyana Shine Youth, basically they are the reason for this. And I'm grateful for being a part of it as the Georgetown Stabroek Lions Club, collaborating with them.
Only recently, the Lions Club had donated a number of textbooks to sixth form students of the St. Stanislaus College and the St. Rose's High School in an effort to increase their performance in Caribbean history at the Cape level. Royden James, reporting for the Evening News.
One of the leading variety stores in Georgetown has kick-started its Christmas promotions, offering customers a chance to win exciting prizes at both of its locations. Let's find out more in this report.
Payless Variety Store, with branches at 42 Wellington Street in Georgetown and 28 Stelling Road, Redenhoop, has unveiled what it dubs a grand Christmas promotion. With the purchase of any amount, customers will become eligible to win 10 main prizes as well as 5 consolation prizes on the day of the drawing in December. Among the prizes are a 3-piece suite, refrigerator, gas stove, CD player, microwave, pot set, blender, rice cooker, electric iron, and dinner set. In order to ensure customers are not shortchanged, the company will have those prizes available at both stores, which will have their separate promotions, but with the same items up for grabs. The company is giving out over $2 million in prizes during the Christmas season. According to its representative, Rajan Tiwari, both stores will also run its Red Tax sale during the festive season, an initiative that started today.
And here is how it works. It starts from today. Once you get into the store and you make a purchase, to go with your Christmas promotion, you'll be receiving a red tag. All right? Now, when you receive that red tag or the red ticket, all right, it entitles you to a drawing where you can win yourself a 39-inch television, LED, LG television, and this will be done on a weekly basis from now until the festive season is over or until December. All right? So that is what's happening too. So once you get into the store, the Payless Variety Store, and that is both locations, you'll be having a chance to win also weekly prizes.
Tiwari also highlighted that apart from the promotions, Payless is in the process of expanding its investment in the local economy.
We want to tell you that we are opening our wholesale showroom pretty soon in the month of November. This is located at in Eccles Industrial Site. All right, the wholesale showroom, where we're going to ask our wholesalers to go down to the Eccles Industrial Site, where you can have choices of all the different products we have for you at wholesale prices.
Tiwari said the whole aim of hosting the Christmas promotions is to reward customers who would have spent their hard-earned cash at the Payless stores during the year.
Your regional, international, and bridge reports are next. Stay tuned. Welcome back. This is the Evening News. In the region, a top United Nations official has warned that the small islands of the Caribbean will be the first territories in the region to suffer the effects of rising sea levels due to climate change. Executive Director of the United Nations Environment Programme, Achim Steiner, said on Saturday that the effects that should be of climate change threaten the Caribbean islands' tourism industry and eventually their very existence. Speaking ahead of Sunday's release of the 5th assessment report from the Intergovernment Panel on Climate Change, Steiner said sea level rise will have an immediate impact in economic terms on the Caribbean small island developing states, stating that the Caribbean's tourism infrastructure is 99% along the coastline. He said, and I quote, "Many small island nations are in a far more exposed situation simply because their territory is sometimes only 2, 3, or 4 meters above sea level." Internationally, Canada is the latest country to suspend the processing of visa applicants from foreign nationals who have visited West African nations with large outbreaks of the deadly Ebola virus. In a recent press release, officials said that applications will be returned to people from Ebola hotspots who have already applied for visas. Canadians currently in West Africa will not be affected by the changes, the press release added. Healthcare workers in the affected West African countries will be allowed to return to Canada. Earlier last week, Australia's decision to suspend entry visa for people from Ebola-affected country drew heavy flack, with Uganda accusing Western countries of creating mass panic. Several tourism-dependent Caribbean countries with limited resources to deal with a possible Ebola outbreak have also temporarily banned entry from West African hotspots. According to the World Health Organization, the WHO, statement issued on Friday and current on October 29, a total of 4,951 people have died from Ebola, and there have been 13,567 cases in 8 countries since the outbreak began. Guinea, Liberia, and Sierra Leone remain the worst affected countries, with 13,540 cases and 4,941 deaths attributed to the virus. A total of 523 healthcare workers are known to be infected, and 269 have died. In case you've just joined us, you're watching the evening news. We now take a look at your bridge reports. The Demerara Harbour Bridge is expected to be closed from 14 hours 30 on Tuesday, November 4 for a period of 1.5 hours. And the Burberry Silver Bridge is expected to be closed from 15 hours 45 on Tuesday, November 4 for a period of 1.5 hours. Join us after the break for sports, sponsored by Maccorp. This is the evening news.
Every day presents a few more challenges. Keeping your business running shouldn't be one of them. That's why we work every day towards ensuring your overall satisfaction. With over 100 skilled technicians and engineers equipped with the tools and skills to help you do more. With the largest parts inventory in Guyana, over 10,000 line items readily available. Driven by your success is not just a set of words to us. It is a code by which we live. That is why we are proud to say that we are Bridge.
Welcome back. Now for a look at sport, but first the headlines. WICB and players find common ground. Dio and Persaud are Digicel Guyana Open Golf champions. Wolves, Warriors and Floodlights crowned Guyana Softball Cup kings. And Pakistan crushed Australia to take Test series. Of course, this podcast comes with the kind compliments of Maccorp.
Every day presents a few more challenges. Keeping your business running shouldn't be one of them. That's why we work every day towards ensuring your overall satisfaction. With over 100 skilled technicians and engineers equipped with the tools and skills to help you do more. With the largest parts inventory in Guyana, over 10,000 line items readily available. Driven by your success is not just a set of words to us. It is a code by which we live. That is why we are proud to say that we are Bridge.
Welcome back. We start off with some cricket news. Tensions between the West Indies Cricket Board, the WICB, and the West Indies players have eased, and a way forward found following meetings over the weekend. The Caribbean newspapers have reported that could mean the West Indies' scheduled tour to South Africa in December will go ahead without hiccups.
According to reports, the WICB and the West Indies Players Association, WIPA, will now renegotiate the players' contracts, with the players now having a say in payment matters, and WIPA and its chief executive, Wavell Hines, will continue to represent the players' interests. Also, it was reported a 3-man task force has been created to deal with the BCCI's demands of the WICB. The committee reportedly comprises the former West Indies cricketer and Barbados politician Wes Hall, Barbados Chief Justice and former Prime Minister David Simmons, and lawyer and Trinidad and Tobago politician Kenneth Lala. They will go to work immediately, given the BCCI's 15-day deadline for the WICB to respond to its claim of $42 million. The meeting was set to be attended by the WICB President Dave Cameron, players Dwayne Bravo and Dinesh Ramdin, and their legal representative Ralph Thorne, as well as St. Vincent and Grenadines Prime Minister Ralph Gonzalez and Grenadian Prime Minister Keith Mitchell. Reports also said that the players were assured at the meeting that they would not be victimized for cutting their tour to India short. The West Indies had withdrawn from their tour to India in October with 1 ODI, 1 T20 and 3 Test matches pending due to issues the players had with the payment structures under the Memorandum of Understanding signed between the WICB and WIPA earlier in the year. During the tour to India, ODI captain Bravo had written letters on the matter on behalf of the players to WIPA chief Hines and the WICB, saying that the players' trust had been breached since they were not privy to the changes being brought in. Several exchanges among the three parties had ensued, and the players finally withdrew from the tour after the Dharamsala ODI since no middle ground was found. Subsequently, the BCCI had suspended bilateral tours to the West Indies and demanded financial compensation.
Locally, Wolves, Warriors and Floodlight Masters were crowned category champions of the 4th Guyana Softball Cup after an exhilarating final day at the Demerara Cricket Club, Queenstown on Sunday. The details in this report.
Former GT&T 10-10 champions Wolves Warriors edged Regal in a nail-biting finish, winning by 5 runs in a thrilling contest that had a packed DCC ground on their feet. Chasing a challenging 167 with the white ball on the night sky, Regal came agonizingly close, ending on 161 of 19.5 overs. Patrick Rupal made 30 and Navin Singh 21 as Narayan Bailey and Amir Nizamuddin claimed 2 wickets each. Earlier, former national under-19 player Ricardo Adams batted through the innings for a top score of 53 in Wolves Warriors innings. The eventual man of the match received solid support from Safras Kareem with 37 and skipper Amrit Rai with 31. Adams and Rai had laid the foundation for Wolves Warriors' win with a century partnership for the first wicket. The Masters final was won by Floodlights, who defeated Savage by 18 runs. The Masters MVP and man of the match in the final, Yunus Yusuf, cracked 62 and Imtiaz Mohammed made 45 in Floodlights won 8 over 4, with R. Samru claiming 3 wickets. Despite a fighting 64 from Robert Kumash, Savage managed 162 in 19.2 overs, with Yusuf returning to bag 2 wickets. The most valuable player of the Masters category was Yusuf, while in the open segment it was Lennox Marks of Farm 11. Both batsmen scored a century each, and for their effort they received a gold and diamond-studded bracelet, compliments of Steve's Jewelry.
And Joanne Dio snapped Christine Sukram's 8-year winning streak by copying the Digicel Guyana Open Golf Tournament, while Avinash Prasad won his 5th title on Sunday at Lusignan Golf Course. Tristan Joseph reports.
An intense second day of golfing finished with Joanne Dio creating one of the biggest upsets of the year by unseating Christine Sukram as the top female golfer in Guyana. Dio made an array of focused shots to register a net of 141 for the big win, while Sukram had a tough weekend, falling all the way to 3rd with a net of 149. Chanella Webster, who had the longest drive of the day, finished 2nd with a net of 146. Meanwhile, the men's tournament was less drama-packed as Avinash Prasad registered a gross of 144 to win the men's aspect of the tournament. Events and sponsorship manager of Digicel, Gavin Hope, was pleased with the success of the event, the level of golf as well as the turnout that came to witness the event. The players received their trophies and prizes at the presentation ceremony immediately after the tournament.
And finally, Pakistan recorded only their 2nd Test Series whitewash against Australia after winning by 356 runs on the final day in Abu Dhabi to seal a 2-0 victory. It was their largest win in terms of runs and their first Test Series success against Australia since 1994. The Australians resumed on 143 for 4 in search of an improbable 603, but lost their final 5 wickets for just 8 runs and were all out for 246. Pakistan now move above England to 3rd in the World Test rankings. They won the first Test match in Dubai by 221 runs, which had been their previous record-winning margin in terms of runs against Australia. And with that, we have come to the end of sport, which was sponsored by MarCorp. And that's a wrap as well on the evening news for today, Monday, November 3, 2014. Of course, you can find these and many more stories in tomorrow's edition of the Guyana Times. And here's an invitation to join us on TVG Channel 28 and on Radio Guyana Inc. 89.3 in Essequibo, 89.5 in Georgetown and Environs, and 89.7 in Berbice and Unicary, Suriname. On behalf of all of us here, I'm Avinash Ramzan. Thanks for watching.